Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.
For today, Majorel Georgia, as a part of this global family, is one of the biggest BPO companies in Georgia, which effectively provides outsourcing services for international partners as well as for local organizations. Majorel Georgia serves customers from several industries, including automotive, e-commerce, travel and hospitality, information and digital technology. Georgis Isakadze sat down with Alex Mironenko, an experienced country manager with a demonstrated history of working in the outsourcing, offshoring industry, skilled in operations management, customer relationship management, CRM, workforce management, contact centers, and management, strong in managing multi-sites and multi-operations in the BPO industry. Mironenko currently serves as the CEO of Majorel Georgia. What are the big plans of the company? All in this interview.
Okay, Alex, let us begin. I mean, it's not been a while, I cannot say, about our meeting, and thank you very much for your coverage and being so much reportive to the local business community. But at the same time, I really want to have more precise update personally from you in regards of how business is doing in general. Market is getting more and more competitive here in Georgia, and you mentioned that already in your last interview with BMG. But how long Majorel is in Georgia already? Majorel Georgia?
It's over 7 years. 7 years we're in the market, yes. So, and of course, we started from scratch.
Yeah.
And started from scratch meaning not only just from employee number one to employee whatever we have now, in thousands.
From A to B.
So the industry itself was in the, I would say now, infant stage. There were local players on the market. And for us, it was a pilot. Nobody expected Georgia to be successful as it is. Actually, just a day ago, I was talking to one of the EVPs, and I said, what was your outlook? What would be the maximum? They said the initial business case was 150 people. Then they updated along the way with 300 people. Our peak numbers were before COVID, not COVID, before, it was during the COVID actually. It was almost close to 3,000 people, 3,000 employees, right? So
all in Georgia?
All in Georgia, all in Georgia.
What is happening nowadays, while you mentioned that local market is becoming more and more competitive, maybe Majorel Georgia was this markup and attractiveness why other big guys and major players from the worldwide market are here already?
Well, I would consider us to be the anchor of the industry here. So we set the tone, of course, and we don't work in silos. It's a global business, and then of course our competitors also closely monitor our activities because our client base overlaps, especially with the global clients. We're one of those famous brand names, either big e-commerce or some information and technology clients or even travel clients. So we definitely share the piece of the pie. And of course, they monitor our success story. So, and apparently there's several global players appeared on the market. One of them, of course, is, should I say the names and give them publicity?
Please.
Of course, the Concentrix is here. They have been here for a while. I think they have also grown in the last, let's say, years. Teleperformance, one of the biggest BPO, they currently entered the market in the beginning of the year, so they also have some plans for the country, right? So, but the country is small, so I think that 2-3 global players is enough because otherwise we'll be stepping each other's, so to say, throat. So, and I like that I know they're doing business as clean as we, so there's not really dirty fight on us, so that we welcome healthy competition because it creates. Where there's no competition, sometimes it creates a bit of stagnation or a feeling of comfort. So you need to be on your P's and Q's. So you need to be always aware of what's going on around you, and consequently then, of course, to be reactive, to be competitive. But we're so far ahead of any competition, so I don't take them lightly, but at the same time, we know that we have rebuilt our path. We have already locked down a lot of markets within the labor markets within Georgia, so and for us, it's just we need to continue our focus on sustainability.
Alex, what's the story about? I mean, I'm talking about the public sources, about Majorel. I'm talking about the group, which might be acquired by another big player, and where do we stand in this regards? I mean, any update or whatever information I have that there is a sort of negotiation stage, let me say so far?
So the information we have is quite limited. All I can say is that Teleperformance has put an offer on the table to the major shareholders, and our major shareholders, obviously it's Saham Group and Bertelsmann. So the rest of the, I think 20% of the stocks are liquid and they are being publicly traded in the Netherlands. So we're a public company, so we listed on the Amsterdam Exchange. And for now, it's a long process because it's a heavy purchase. So therefore, a lot of groundwork needs to be done by lawyers. Needs to go through the antitrust and everything else because both companies are listed. So need to get a clearance from the financial authorities in the Netherlands and also financial authorities in France. So we expect that the move itself, upon successful, let's say, path, would be concluded realistically Q4. It can also stretch out all the way to Q1 next year. So, but we're looking as a positive thing. I can even expound on that. Our industry undergoing the transformation where eventually it's going to be only a number of big players left worldwide.
Why is that happening, Alex? It's crystallization of the industry or what's going on?
In order to survive. So you need to join the big pack, otherwise you're going to be always one of those, let's say, how to say that, you're going to be left behind, or it's that you're going to not fight for the big piece of the pie, right? So the good analogy is like a Big Four, right? They're all present here. There's EY, PwC, KPMG. If we rewind 20 years ago, there were so many little companies doing those sort of consulting services and then audit companies. So, but right now, no matter country you enter, those companies are present there, right? So in a bigger scale, smaller scale. So we're also going through the same thing that it's going to be consolidation. And of course, smaller players will not go, but smaller players don't have the resources to fight and undergo changes, especially in automation in the light of this AI, chat, GDP, and so on. So they need to have resources to be competitive and to move into the next phase, and our business is also affected by this.
What's the story about the success of Majorel in Georgia? I mean, you absolutely rightly mentioned as an anchor, as a locomotive, as a pioneer, at least for BPOs worldwide here in this country, made this success story within the very small country and market, and you knew from the very beginning that this country was small and the market was limited. But Majorel Georgia made it not just a positive, it's a success story. Success story for Georgia itself. You as an employer are all remain always as in the top. So brief us about the story. By the end of 7 years, so far you are in Georgia.
So I can briefly take it for the, let's say, memory lane. Of course, as I mentioned in the beginning, the expectations were not so high because nobody knew what Georgia are, right? So, but quickly we realized, and surprisingly, there are a lot of talented people who speak German language. And at that time, and there's a high demand for the German speakers. So one of our anchor clients came here with demand of German support, right? So we still have the same clients. So it's still one of the biggest clients we have. And due to the size, nobody expected there are so many talented people who speak a variety of foreign languages, right? So in German is dominantly. Who would associate the German language available in such a capacity in Georgia, for example? But nevertheless, we saw that there are German institutions that are very strong here. There's a Goethe Institute, there are German schools. One of them is nearby in Vera, right? So that there's also a lot of initiatives from the public sphere, from the private sphere that's going on by exchange of students. So some of the work initiatives that people are not only learning the language, they have opportunity to travel, study, or have some seasonal jobs in Germany, and then they come not only speaking the language, understanding the culture, which also helps us in our line of business when they're doing the customer support for the German-speaking customers.
I didn't know that about the German portion of
German portion is one of the biggest.
Wow.
Over 1,000 people in Majorel speak German language.
It's still highly demanded?
It's highly demanded. However, the market is already very tight.
Sure.
I can tell you this because in the beginning it was I can tell you the numbers. There was, in the golden times, in the golden era, there would be 40 applications a week. Now we don't give even 40 applications a month, right? So it's much tighter, and of course a lot of young people, especially when the opportunities came to travel to European Union, visa-free, a lot of young people try to exercise this opportunity. A lot of them getting invited to study, finish their studies, and continue the studies. So, but however, we also suspect, maybe in some years, it's going to be reverse migration when the standard of living will improve in Georgia. I experienced it in Estonia. That when Estonia was accepted to European Union, and of course there was a freedom of travel, freedom of work. So like free, everybody can go to any country and get immediately a job. So what happened? There was a flood. 20-30 of talented percent of, let's say, talented workforce has traveled from Estonia. But then, after a certain period of time, we saw that the quality of life improved in Estonia. So a lot of people who were, let's say, living in Denmark or Norway or Ireland, they were coming back. So they got the skill, maybe they got some savings, and then they're coming back to Estonia to reinvest.
So personally for you, taking into consideration your experience in other countries, this migration process happening in Georgia last year and a half, 2 years, this is not surprisingly, it's like a similar route which has happened in other countries you presented?
It's a little bit different.
It's natural.
It's natural, first of all, because people are, especially the young people, they're all Western driven. So I mean, no matter who I talk to, I mean, I can speculate it's not 100%, but yeah, sure. I would say 95-98% of all the young people look their eyes towards the West, European Union, other organizations, and so on and so on, so that everybody is really breathing that air of.
And they are using momentum and opportunity,
yes,
like
sure, yeah.
Schengen and the EU visa, yeah?
But for us, what we in Majorel, from day one, have not differentiated in the sense of what type of benefits we bring, what type of culture we bring, what type of, I would say that, attitude. So if you go today to a country like Romania, or to a country like maybe, I would say Greece or Estonia or Lithuania, which those are countries we're present in, the atmosphere, the culture itself, you would feel that whatever you experience in Majorel, Georgia, it will be not copy-paste, but of course it has a Georgian local flavor, but it's sense that we have not differentiated or treated anything differently. So we came with the same package. So that for us it was important that we set the tone from the very beginning, to set the standard from the very beginning, and that's also differentiated us in a sense of growth, because the local players were here, smaller players, but people saw that the attitude towards employee, the treatment, the equal opportunity, diversity, and so on, so that we really look at our employees as the sense of partners. We're trying to be, let's say, work so much on engagement to keep them, let's say, involved in the daily life apart from work. As I mentioned to you before, being a stable employer, paying salaries on time, it's not enough. You need to create a different ecosystem inside the company and outside the company to really set yourself apart. So, and that's what we're trying to do, and the team is trying to do on a daily basis. So.
Tell me, what are, you mentioned about this German direction within your company, which was highly demanded. What are the most requested directions right nowadays, which are still on and like more or less stable, let me say so? Or it still goes beyond foreign languages and the basic skills?
So the foreign language, it's
mandatory.
It's mandatory. However, we have a couple large-sized businesses that heavily rely on English only, and English is one of this. I think it's a potential is in abundance in Georgia, especially within the young population, 30 or younger. I would say that a lot of people speak English, especially in Tbilisi area, yeah. But it also shows in Kutaisi or in Batumi, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we also do, one of those most interesting businesses is so-called content moderation. So it's a back office business. So the people who work there, they are not taking calls, they're not doing emails, they're not answering any inquiries. They actually, of course, on behalf of certain social platform, they monitor the content. And if there's abusive content in the sense of, there's violence or anything adult-wise or anything that, that really against the company policy or just something that cannot appear because the content is being viewed by people of different ages. There can be kids, it can be people who's, let's say, traumatized by certain things. So obviously, this needs to be filtered. And it's not only people who are trying to remove the bad content from the queue. Of course, there's a technology behind it. So the AI catches certain videos, and then upon review of the humans, those videos, so-called videos, are not being released to the main queue. So
tell me, you mentioned in our last interviews that you were so much surprised with Georgian regions. I mean, positively surprised as well. How they are doing and how your offices are doing in Kutaisi and other.
Well, Kutaisi has been quite a success for us. I would say that. First of all, I think we are, I would not say first because I don't know the whole scope, but we're one of the first international companies who made a really big presence in Kutaisi. It was interesting because we struggled to find the proper real estate, but with the help of our real estate agency, our partner, so he was really helpful, so that we found a building which was. So it was not A-class building, but we made it into the A-class building.
Wow.
So it's you're welcome to attend, to see it. It's a quite interesting journey there. So I think it's over 2,000 square meters we have there. So and it's we built a beautiful office there, which can house up to 300 plus people. So currently, I think we have a little less than 300 employees in Kutaisi. So. With two businesses, it's also German.
German is included.
But interesting that one of the businesses, and unfortunately I cannot name, but one I can. It's a small business, but still it's one of those very, say, focused business. It's a technical support for ASUS.
Whoa.
So German customers, when they require technical support, so it's a dual skill. So we not only requires to be German speaker, you need to have at least some technical background. So it's a technical support over the phone. So there can be some warranty support, but nevertheless,
it's done from Kutaisi.
It's done from Kutaisi. So the German customer who struggle with their hardware, ASUS hardware, they are calling Kutaisi to get the support. Yes. So imagine that. That's how connected the world is now. So, yeah. So
tell me about your plans. I mean, we are all waiting for some changes happening around, and these changes. Are not predictable, unfortunately, and I mean this unpredictability is still on us. I mean, for the business community, taking into consideration all of these tough periods we have, at least for the last 3 years, Alex, including pandemic, then war happening in Ukraine. What are the plans of yours? Doing further, being more coverage in Georgia. And what are the major KPIs, maybe personally for you and for your team?
Well, if we compare the last year to this year, we've been blessed in the last several years to have a very aggressive growth year on year, right? So, however, if we compare year 2022 and year 2023, our KPIs, of course, we expect some growth, but it's right now in the very moderate numbers. Moderate. So, of course, the country itself doesn't grow overnight, and the talent pool, as we discussed before, is also limited. However, we see that the growth cannot necessarily happen in numbers, but also into, I would say, to be a trusted outsourcing partner for more, let's say, specialized support. Specialized support, we can call it tier 2, tier 3, so more technical support like ASUS, right? So that's one thing. So of course the war affected us because also one of the some of the businesses we have some Russian speakers, right? So obviously the companies that we support, the clients we support, they exited Russian Federation upon the tragedy that happened. However, the support is still there because language and politics is a bit different thing. So there's still people in the world who speak Russian who need support for certain products that we are partners with. So there has been a stagnation in some sort, but we also look forward to this partnership with the company that shows interest or showed the interest to acquire. So their portfolio is much larger. So and of course they're 4 times bigger than we are. So we're also looking at opportunities with them. So that We do have state-of-the-art facilities in Batumi, for example, which is not even half full right now, so there's still capacity there. Kutaisi is still capacity there. Tbilisi is pretty tight, I can tell you this, so, but what helps us is work from home. So a lot of our clients, they went to the hybrid model, so, which is sometimes 50-50, 60-40, so COVID has been a curse and a blessing.
Yeah.
Before that, a lot of clients never considered working from home. It was only brick and mortar, it was only working in an office, so, but now we see that it's a new reality where you can attract more people, we can do this, so, but the growth itself, I think right now we need to sustain what we have. That's
a core task, yeah?
That's one of the core tasks. However, there are opportunities with certain languages that we can compete with. What's not driving us, I would say this, strong lari, it's not our friend.
Okay.
Because a lot of international company revenues come with a hard currency. It's euros, so imagine this, our payroll.
You're exporting everything.
So our payroll becomes, not overnight, but in a very short period of time, 30% more expensive. Because our salaries all in the local currencies, a lot of our expenses in the local currencies, because our local vendors, we need to support the site, support the people, so it's all in local currency. So of course our expenses has been undergoing the changes. It doesn't mean it killed us, but it also showed that the stronger the lari, sometimes it's not, we're less competitive. Because now other geographies who also have a, let's say, qualified labor pool, which is not so expensive, stepping on our toes.
Wherever currency is more stable and...
It's stable today, so we can adjust this, but if it goes even further to be stronger, it's
a problem.
It's not going to kill us, obviously.
But it's going to be problematic.
It's so, yeah. Of course, it doesn't need to be 4.
Yeah.
But
it should be stable.
Our finance team has a lot of mechanisms in place. We do hedging, we do other things, so that it's of course, well, we have great professionals who try to foresee those things and try to, let's say, use all the financial instruments in place, all the tools to, let's say, to not, let's say, to balance out those negative effects, so the special effects.
I was always wanted to ask you, your local team is mostly locals, I mean Georgians, or how, can we just evaluate as sort of statistics? Yeah.
I can tell you there's maybe 5% are expats.
90% were locals before.
Yeah, so I mean, we in the management currently, apart from me.
Yeah.
I think it's
I think you're Georgian as well,
yes,
already.
Sort of. Apart from me, yes, I think so. Especially how I drive. So. Yeah. So yeah. So most of our professionals, especially in the middle levels, mid management and higher.
95%.
I think it's 98%. Our agent population, entry-level management, and also our let's say first-level employees, there's a mix. So there's a mix. So there's also diversity that we also have people from different countries.
Yeah.
But not different countries in the sense that neighboring countries, but we have native German speakers. We have people from different continents and so on. So that we're trying to, I could say that. Let's say diversity is one of the things that we really cherish and promote. Either the gender equality, or if it's let's say race equality or anything else. So for us, it's just it's very important. So.
I got your message that for the nearest plan, sustainability and having everything in a sustained way is like core from the action plans. Let me say so. Yes. But at the same time, I cannot resume our conversation without asking my core question. What do we need for further growth? And because Majorel Georgia's growth is in line with growth of country itself. So is there anything in this quite unpredictable situation happening in region and worldwide, Alex, what can drive this business to a positive way in a more that will reflect all your activities here in Georgia?
I would say one of the attracting points, and it still remains attracting points for Georgia, is the ease of doing business. I mean, it's not just a figure that, that's been assessed yearly, by the institutions. It still exists. Georgia is still in the top 10. Very little red tape. You can set up company in a couple hours. Taxation system it's fabulous if people knew about this. So for us, it's very important that that this separation between the state and the business exists. So sometimes no help is the best help. Because for us, is that I really cherish our relationship with Enterprise Georgia.
Yes.
But they are a bunch of professional, let's say, guys and ladies, so that they come in and help us when we need to open the right doors. But nevertheless, that I always said also to Misha, the CEO of Enterprise Georgia, that they help us to speed up things. That they help us to, let's say, knock on the right doors and they open, but we are the ones who walk through the doors. So they're not. So their influence is zero. They just connect the dots.
Connected to the right.
Connect the dots. So what can help further is of course, the talent pool. So if there are mechanisms within, I would not say the mechanism, but if there are, let's say, certain strategy how to retain the talent, because we know there's some industry in our industry is affected, and now there's a flow of immigration. So we need to retain the talent. So at least to give them the kickoff on the start job. I can assure you that nobody retires from the call center, right? So,
yeah, sure.
So I mean, unless you're already in a high position. So nobody becomes a, let's say, a call center operator and then continues. They will advance so that the average, let's say, that tenure it's about 2-3 years. Otherwise, you get promoted or you just change the job, right? So, obviously, with the entry-level job for a lot of people, so we want to remain as such that at least those people who are, let's say, want to enter our industry, they at least get some opportunity with us, and then later on they can explore the market here locally or outside Georgia. So for us currently, as you mentioned, it's hard to predict, but I look at opportunities, for example, as I mentioned, in languages such as English, right? So there's high demand on that, right? So, and I can tell you that there are a lot of customers who, in the past, it was always driven by the costs, which still are in some cases, but not everybody wants their business to operate out of Philippines, or India even, where their English capacities are in abundance and the cost is different, right? So some of the clients wants to, so-called, to be nearshore, right? So they want their business so they can even travel freely and so on. One of our clients, like, we have a purely business which is, we support United Kingdom, UK, so it's close to 140, 150 people. We just launched this LOB, and it's automotive. It's one of the biggest, let's say, automotive groups, and then we support this client on behalf. So it's interesting business because it's not a purely, let's say, technical support or just somebody calling, where's my order? No. It's more of a customer advocacy, because the issues that they deal with, sometimes they can last for months, so that some cases open up for weeks. So that's more of a customer advocacy. So in relation to automotive business. So and then it shows that Georgia is trusted because UK is very picky, particular market, right? So and then sending the US. So we get trusted with those customers doing the job out of Georgia. So that this is also, I see opportunities that I know we have a proven track record. And interesting that the clients are careful that even with German language, or this on the first 2-3 years, we only had 2 clients. There was a client in the airline industry and e-commerce industry. But then over time, our partners saw within portfolio that, look, these guys are doing okay. They survived this storm.
Stable.
So all of a sudden, other global clients, let's say, we've been able to sell Georgia for them. Same thing I see as opportunity within English, that all of a sudden we have a couple businesses that support purely English, not just the worldwide English, but let's say the guys who are natives. And it's a success story. So if we can prove that success story, we can further to acquire business. So it's a trial and error, and we have proven track record. So for us, we see that there are opportunities to grow there. In German, let's see, it's hard. But what we do, if we don't have German speakers, it's interesting. We sort of create them. We have a program called Majorel Academy.
You mean learning?
Yes. So we invite people to learn German who already have some basis like A2 or B1.
Like having the guaranteed...
They have a guaranteed employee. if they pass all the tests, they can work with us.
And what might be an overage salary for them?
It's actually public information, so it's like, on billboards. I think it starts with 2,300. It's gross, of course, but there are benefits that come along the way. So there's a 5-star insurance.
Sure.
So it's we've been partners with the local big players in the market. So I think you know you're one of them. So and every year we reassess this to make sure the benefits don't get, let's say, not worse, but even better. So we're trying to always improve conditions. There are a lot of smaller things we do. So there's also some of the annual bonuses, and also that, you know, for example, end of the year when a lot of spending during the Christmas and the New Year is happening. So a little boost of cash there. So that's happening on a yearly basis. It's guaranteed, right? So and many other things. So which I would say that makes us attractive in the sense that sometimes the smaller the things have the biggest impact. I can give you one example. It's one of my favorite benefits because I also benefit from this. I just came from the during the hot summer days. Weekly, on every floor, we have a fridge full of ice cream. So when you have a coffee or you just had your lunch, so you can go and grab an ice cream. So it's not something that, you know, I would say costs a huge amount of money, right? So it's just an ice cream. But for me, it's just those small things sometimes matter. So when you get 30 degrees outside, sometimes to cool down. So and those small things add up into really big, as I said, ecosystem of benefits. So that we're trying to promote and install. So yeah.
Good luck. Keep us posted about everything what's going to happen in the nearest future, and good luck to Majorel Georgia as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for this interview.
The Checkpoints is presented by pharmaceutical company GM Pharma.